Long pause, long pause. Are we live? I think we are. Yeah, it didn't change for a while on my screen. So, all right, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. We're here on a Saturday night. It's been raining really bad here. I actually didn't do too bad. I've been in Orlando all day at the Rockler store and was doing some things. It didn't rain too bad on the way home, but yeah, it took for a second for it to come on mine and say that it was actually live. So you might have caught me. Is it on? Is it on? Caught me doing that. But we got a great show tonight. We've got Charlie Kocourek. I believe I pronounced that right.
Excellent.
Yeah, from Jack Bench. And he's going to be on showing us some veneering. And I've done some veneering before, but never very much or to a large extent. So I'm very, very interested in learning tonight myself. But yeah, I've been at Rockler, had a great time. We were making Father's Day bow ties, and I was running, had 3 scroll saws running at one time. We had 50 to 60 people show up to make bow ties. A lot of kids. I posted a lot of pictures over on Facebook. And just to give you an idea, I made a couple and brought them home so I could show you. So this is a couple of the bow ties we made. And pretty cool, I think. If I
Very
have
cool. Nice. Very cool, Russ.
Yeah. So what you do is it's got elastic and Velcro, so it basically goes around your neck. Actually, you ain't gonna be able to see if I was to put one on. So I said I just wear mine like this. So that's where I wear mine. But this is one of them. And like Charlie said, "Hey man, that's inlay. Did y'all inlay all that?" I said, "You want me to tell you the truth? You want me to lie?" I was like, "Yeah, we spent all day inlaying all this stuff in here." But no, it's pre-made, and you can buy it from Locklear, the inlay. And what we did was just glue it on top of the that, and then you just take some banding and put it around the middle, and then just put the elastic on the back, and then just add some Velcro to the ends so that it'll hook together. And then this is the other one that I made. Yeah, I like both of these. These look pretty cool.
No jumper shares, it's not a clip-on.
No, it's not a clip-on. Hey, ask Jim if he's in the chat. Ask him if he wants to be on the show. We'll send him the link.
Hey Jim, you want to be on the panel?
Hey Jim, you want to be on the panel?
Somebody's got
you like my little bow?
somebody's got an echo from heck.
Oh, I think that might be Charlie. Charlie, I'm gonna mute you for right this second.
Mm-hmm. Naughty no.
So anyway, but that's what I've been doing all day. I got there at 9 o'clock, and they let me go at 4:30, so I could run home and do the show tonight. Had a great bunch. I had the assistant manager, Josh. He was helping me, and then another guy by the name of Pete, one of the guys that works there. We were all. There was that many people. We'd had 10 to 12. One time we had 10 to 12 people show up. There was only supposed to be 8 in a group, and somehow online it allowed them to book more people. So we had like 10, 12 people show up at one time. So I'm glad for the other guys were there, and we all had a great time. We all worked good together and got it. I mean, we were like boom, 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 turning them out real quick. So
Sterling already got you. He said, "Where can we get the pattern? The same place as the box we were supposed to get weeks ago."
Actually, no. Don't go there, because the pattern for the box has been up on my website for a couple of weeks now.
He just didn't announce it because I didn't even know this.
Actually, I might have forgot, but yes. It's on. Go to my website and go on the pattern page, and there's a PDF of the pattern for the box up there.
Awesome. That's simplywoodencreations.com, and Jim Brashears can't get on the panel because his camera got smashed. I don't even want to know how.
Ooh, yeah, really. So, but that's what I was doing today, and so had a great time. We had about 50, 60 people show up, a lot of kids, a lot of adults. I was really surprised how many adults that wanted to try it, and they came in and wanted to do it. One, it was really great. These two teenagers and this one kid come walking in, and it started pouring down rain. I mean, dumping. And they come in, was just like looking around. They come in, basically get out of the rain. They saw what we were doing. They're walking over. What are you guys doing? We're like, we're making bow ties. And they're like, oh, really? And I said, yeah, y'all want to make some bow ties? And they look, we don't even got any money. We can't do that. I said, it don't cost you anything. You do it for free. They went like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So they got into the group and started making bow ties too. So they had a real good time. They come in from out of the rain, and they're in now making bow ties and took them with them. So really good time. Only thing I got to, a couple of things just real quick. One of the things is don't forget to get a big loud hiss somewhere.
That's because I just turned my mic on. It's probably my fan.
Ah, it is.
Sorry.
So anyway, one thing I want to remind everybody is Whirligig Wars. You should see another page anytime now, probably coming up this week, on my website for the new Whirligig Wars. Basically, the rules are the same as last year. Working on sponsors right now. We should be ready to go July 1st. So Whirligig Wars this year will run from July 1st to July 31st, like it's been every other year. Last year was a real quick thing because I took it over, but so don't forget about Whirligig Wars. Hopefully we'll get some really good prizes and have a lot of good. I've gotten about 20 emails already, people asking about it and everything. So I keep sending them to my website. I know the page ain't up yet. We're working on that right now to put the new page up for the Whirligig Wars, and it should be up hopefully this week. The only one other thing that I have to say is my sponsors, which are doing my website.
Without rating.
Technologies. I ain't got a piece of paper for web design, development, and hosting. Visit devobal.com. They're all your website needs. So go see Devobal. And the other one is FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Visit fastcap.com. They have a ton of great stuff over there on FastCap. So go visit them and buy something and tell them Russ sent you. So that gets that out of the way. Sorry about last week, and I'm going to try to get through this without tearing up about missing the show last week. My neighbor of 30 years, we've been neighbors and friends. Her children went to school with our children, or my children, and actually her daughter and my daughter, my oldest daughter, graduated high school together, and she got the news back, and she had known, basically, she thought she had it, but she actually got the definitive news back in March that she had cancer, and actually had already moved really throughout her body, and they told her that she wouldn't live past 90 days, and it had spread to her brain. And you can't live beside somebody for 30 years and not get to know them. And I saw her almost every day. The woman loved to be out in her yard, work in her garden. She was a flower fanatic. She'd go to the store and buy flowers every year and get tons of them. I was like, wow, man, you got more flowers. I can't afford all those flowers. She would buy me flowers and bring them to me to put in my yard. So bless her heart. I woke up Saturday morning around 8 o'clock. I walked through my living room and looked over and seen the ambulance in front of her house, and I knew it wasn't going to be good. And so I ran over there to see about her. And by the time I got there, she'd already been gone. She'd already gone. So I'm going to, about the biggest thing, I think, I mean, I loved her to death. And about the biggest thing I'm going to miss is not seeing her in her yard anymore. After 30 years, you see somebody every day out in their yard. And the woman's 74 years old. And I swear, if it wasn't storming, a tornado, or thunder and lightning, or a hurricane, that woman was in her yard every single day, either pulling weeds or pruning something or planting another plant or doing something in her yard every single day at 74. She was as healthy as an ox. Unfortunately, the big C took her down. So
yeah, pancreatic cancer acts very quickly.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's
sorry for your loss as well as your neighbors.
Yeah, I had to cancel the show. Her husband was a wreck. And they've been married for I think it was 54 years. So he was a wreck. Didn't have any clue what was going on. He couldn't get a hold of his daughter. I finally got a hold of his daughter, and she was flying in. So I had canceled the show. I took him to the airport to get her. She came in and everything, but I stayed with him all that day and helped everything. I helped him do whatever I could do. But yeah, it's really, really, really heartbreaking. Trust me, because like I said, I'm gonna keep it together as good as I can. But I will miss Della Tensor.
This show is dedicated to you.
Yep, very much so.
Jeff Robinson says he'll keep you in his prayers.
Thank you very much. So, all right. So that being said, let's go down the list real quick, and we'll start off with my co-host and Charlie. I'll let you be last since you're actually the shows you're going to be doing the Veneering, and let's start off with Charles. Charles, where can we find you, and what's going on? Everything good with you?
most
You can
often in the
find it
doghouse.
behind the thing on the page.
Am I behind the bloody logo again?
You're behind it
Blab it.
again.
That's probably a safe thing. Yeah. Paul P&G Custom Woodworks just pointed that out. I'm on YouTube under the name Charles Deering, but technically it's Charles Deering Scroll, but you'll be able to find me with a wooden logo doing this like that there. Facebook is where I'm most active. I run a show on Friday nights called Maker's Mashup. I just recently changed to that format and I had a blast last night with Andy Berkey. Woodenvisions.com. Go to the link section. You should find all my social media in there, but Facebook's where I'm most active. And thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Real quick, Jeff Robinson says over there, did Russ say how many bow ties? I only made 2. Those are the 2 I just showed, but we had approximately 50 to 60 people show up and make bow ties. So we made it. Some of them made 2. Like a couple of people come in and said, well, I have, 2 of them, can I make 2? And we're like, sure. So we had at least 50, 60 bow ties were made today. So, and then let's go over to Charles Gant. How you doing? Yeah, we're going to get confused tonight with 3 Charles.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Yeah, so I'm Charles Gant. You can find me at themakersworkbench.com or on YouTube at The Makers Workbench. This is actually my second show this weekend I've been on. I was on a show with Jason McGinn yesterday.
Cool.
Precise Mistakes is the name of his show.
Yes.
Yep. Precision mistakes for precise mistakes.
Precise mistakes. We talked about 3D printing for an hour.
Okay, cool. And then just popped in, Rob. How you doing, Rob? Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I thought about I mute myself and I didn't do it. So. Anyway,
How you doing?
Great. It's good to see you. This is the first time I've been on with Russ. I enjoyed a show with Charlie last week and a few other times, and I'm just having a good time. I've got absolutely nothing to do for the rest of the night, so you can take hours. Go right ahead.
That means you were a last resort, Russ. I was bored, so I popped
For y'all
on.
that don't know, Rob has the biggest, beautifulest shop. One day we'll do a show and have him on and have him show the shop off. But last year, not this year, but last year we went to Atlanta. He showed we were able to go over and visit his shop, and I thought, man, he's got a nice shop. So if you look behind him, this is his break area. So he's got a stock fridge over there and a coffee pot and a microwave. Yeah, this is his break area of the shops, guys. So yeah. So all right, good to have you on, Rob. Let's get over to Paul from Paul's Messy Woodshop.
Yeah, I'm Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop, and you can find me on YouTube on Paul's Messy Workshop. And I appreciate you having me on, Russ. I'm looking forward to this show tonight, because when Charles held up that little saw, I thought it was for doing small dovetails.
No, he's going to show us what that's for. So that's good. And then over to Shane and Shelly. Good to see you back, Shelly. You look beautiful as ever.
Thank you.
Not you.
It's so good to see everybody. My name is Charlie Cole. Some of you know me as Mom. I'm from the YouTube channel Know What Mom Knows. And yes, after several months of waiting, I'm actually working on some projects again, and I'm filming them. So hopefully pretty darn soon here you'll see something from me.
Cool.
So glad to be back. It's good to see everybody.
Great to have you back, Mama.
Thank you. It's good to be back. And we want to give our condolences also.
Yes,
Russell, I'm sorry for your loss. That is hard to go through. And we had some loss in our family too, so we understand it. And we're sorry that you had to go through that. And
Yes.
we understand the show was canceled, so
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
we hope you I hope the joy comes back soon.
Yes.
It will. It will.
Hi, everybody. Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Shane. You can find me on all your social network medias under Shane Hobby Shop. I'm more onto Facebook than anything else, but under Shane Cole on that one. Yeah, find me all over the place. I am trying to finish up my website right now. I got to put a bunch of stuff on it, and then we're going to hit go, and boom, we're live. So it's coming up, but that's going to be shaneshobbyshop.com. And for Charlie, we're going to be looking forward for tonight. Because me and Mom both wants to do veneering.
Oh, good.
I want to get me, I don't know, maybe some zebra wood and put some pine veneering on it. I don't know.
Pine veneering?
Yeah, naughty pine, yeah. But yeah, we are looking forward to that because that is something that we do want to learn how to do.
All right, good.
So looking
A lot
forward
of
to
people
it.
saying welcome back, Mom, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
What
you.
about me? I was gone for like a day.
They wanted you to grab Biscuit and put him over your face.
She biting my tongue right now.
It's on there.
So I got the camera locked on you, Charlie.
All right.
You said you were very good at veneering, and that's great because like I said, I know a lot of people. I've had a lot of people PM me this week and say, "Hey, man, great, we want to see the veneering." So
Good.
you can tell us where we can find you, and pretty much the show's you. And
All right.
take off.
I'll give it my best shot. My name's Charlie Kocourek, and you can find me, well, first of all, on my website, which is jackbench.com. And people don't know what that is. Years ago, I designed this adjustable height workbench. And if you're doing detail work like veneering, it's nice to have your bench up high. If you're doing heavy work, you're doing assembly, you put your bench down low. So that's what the Jack Bench is all about. And you can find me there. Lately I've been most active on Instagram, but I got Facebook and a little Twittering presence too. But most active on Instagram recently.
Cool.
Yeah.
I try to post a lot on Instagram. I think I'm approaching 400 followers right now on Instagram. To me, that's a milestone. Trust me.
A lot more than I got by there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So show us about your veneering. How we got you?
Well, okay. I forgot to mention I got my YouTube channel, of course, jackbench.com. I got 60, 70 videos up there now. And I got a few of them on veneering. But I've got one on basic veneering. I think we've got enough time here. I should be able to get through most of the basic and maybe even show you some of the extra cool stuff here before we get through it.
We got plenty of time.
I'm sorry to interrupt. They're requesting that we remove the panel so we can see what Charlie's doing.
Yeah, I will. I'll do present.
So what I'm going to reset my camera so it's pointing down at the bench. And so you guys can see what I'm doing. So give me a second to do that.
Sure. Hey, Charlie, how do you, Charles Deering, how do you do present to everyone?
You click on the drop down arrow in their thumbnail picture, present to everyone. Then on the black bar up top, you will click on hide participants on the far left.
All right. We'll try it like that, see how it works out. So, you have veneer. So here's I don't know what this is. This looks like tiger maple, but it isn't. It's something else. I buy veneer all over the place. I get packets of veneer off of YouTube, not YouTube, but eBay. Certainly Wood. If I really want to get the good stuff, I go to Certainly Wood. But what I wanted to show you is, first of all, veneer is not cut with a blade, not with a regular saw blade. It's cut with a knife. So I'll move this up a little more again. There. So it's cut with a knife. So they got a big, huge log on a tree, and they slices off with a knife. And so it comes off, one slice, the next slice, like that.
Oh, cool.
And so since there's no kerf in between, you have, here's a board, and they slice it with a knife, and where these two pieces come together, you've got what you could call a cell-to-cell match. It's an absolute perfect match.
Wow.
Theoretically, right? Whereas if you cut it with a saw, you got, the wood's moving in that log, and it's not the same. So that's one advantage to veneer. And let me interrupt. Russ, is this a good vantage here? I got the camera good?
Yeah, beautiful. We can see great.
Okay, good. So that's one advantage. And then knowing that, when you buy veneer, well, first of all, the supplier, okay, like I said, they cut it. It comes off the log like that. And that's in a sequence. That's what they call a sequence. And so when you buy veneer, if you buy it from a good company, they keep it in that sequence. And when you pull it out of the box, it's still in that sequence, just as it was when it was cut off the log. And so what I do is, first thing I do is I'll number them, see? I put a number 1, and I'll number at different spots on all the corners and then in the middle.
Wow.
So that way, if I start cutting the veneer up, I can always keep track of which sequence, which 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, so that they stay in order.
Very good idea.
Yeah, so that's something you want to do if you're trying to do some serious book matching with veneer, which is part of the fun stuff.
Okay, real quick. So in other words, I go into Rockler and I see their veneering, their little packages hanging on the walls, which I was looking at some today. And
yeah.
That may not be necessarily in sequence like you're talking about.
It probably would be. It probably is. If you're buying a book match set, it should be there.
Yeah, if they're packaged together, I would imagine. But if they're free, just freestanding, people might pick through for a specific grain. That can mess it up.
Yeah, sometimes you buy bundles of variety of veneer, and then it's whatever it is.
Right. Okay.
But if you buy, you go to Certainly Wood and you buy, a bundle of veneer, it's going to come in a sequence.
Great. Okay, that's good.
Okay. So that's something, the first thing you want to know about it. So then, if you want to cut veneer, there's a lot of ways you can cut it. Usually, I actually just use a regular utility knife like this. And this particular one is non-retractable. And I use that one because it's the blade is tighter in the body of the knife. So when you're cutting, it's solid. Whereas the ones, it's a little loose in there sometimes.
Right.
So if I use a utility knife, I'll use a non-retractable.
Charlie, Sterling Davis is asking, what's the drying time for a log to cut into sheets like that before cutting it?
Oh, they've got a huge process. Hey, Sterling, glad you're out there. What they do, they got this huge, they take the whole log and they actually soak it in like hot water, and they get the whole thing kind of soft and mushy, and then they slice it up. And it's a whole, go on, look for a video on how veneer is processed. It's pretty fascinating. So when you get it, essentially you're getting air-dried lumber. Very, very thin, but air-dried lumber.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you want to cut veneer, like I said, you can use a knife. Can use an X-Acto knife like this. Another really good way to go. This is actually a scalpel. I wrapped some stuff around here so I could hold it. But this is a medical scalpel, and you can buy these on Amazon too. And they are, man alive, it's razor sharp. And then this floor scraper, as you guys were calling it earlier, is actually a veneer saw. And you can buy these all over the place on the woodworking websites. But when you buy these normally, like any woodworking tool, they're not sharp. And they're not very useful that way. I bought this one off of Joe Woodworker, and he actually sharpens them. He gets them pretty sharp, and then after I got it home, I took and I put it on a stone, and I honed it some more. And so this is really sharp. And so if I want to cut veneer, what do I got here? Here's some walnut that I just happen to have. I'll take I got these aluminum rulers. I buy a 48-inch, and I cut some off, so I got different sizes. And I put some PSA sticky sandpaper on the back, so it doesn't move around, so it's solid. And then I use a cutting mat. This is a regular fabric, sewing. If you go to a fabric store, cutting mat, or Walmart, wherever you buy your fabric supplies. So I'll put this down on whatever line I want to cut, and I take this little saw, and I use the aluminum rule for a guide. And you don't want to try to cut through in one pass. You cut through in multiple passes.
Is that a cleaner cut?
Once you'll damage it.
Jeff Robinson would like to know, do you only use wood veneer, or do you use Wilson Art PVC veneers too?
I personally have never worked with anything other than wood veneer, but you could have some fun doing that, I suppose. But personally, this is the only kind I've used is wood. But, you know, that's one of the cool things, though, is you can use, oh my gosh, any kind of wood. Like here's a panel I made a while back. I did a video on it, but then this is the second one because I sanded through it, this one. But this is a walnut burl. This is a 4-way book match. I don't know how well that's showing up there.
Is veneer relatively affordable? I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, sir.
It is. It's pretty affordable. It's not. You get it anywheres. Usually they sell it by the square foot, and so it'll be anywheres from 50 cents a foot for really, really cheap stuff if you want to like basswood, up to really expensive. You get some exotic burls. It might be 14 bucks a foot. So it's not always cheap, but it's stuff you couldn't buy. You couldn't possibly even get solid wood that's that way. So if I was using the saw, like I said, I'd do it like that, or any of these. I'd do it the same way. I'd use my straight edge and whatever blade and cut them. Sometimes what I'll do, not always, but sometimes what I'll do, if this isn't quite right, or say if I cut it at an angle or any chipping, you can run your finger along here and you can feel if it's a nice smooth surface, and you can hold it, you know, onto a straight edge like this and look and see if it's perfectly straight. And if it's not, what I'll do is I will joint the edge kind of the same way that you would joint a regular board. I've got an aluminum tube here with some PSA sandpaper on it. And as much as I thought I was well prepared.
Now, I assume the multiple passes with the cutter is how you get a cleaner cut.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'll take the veneer. Like I said, if I want to really get a nice thing, I can joint the edge. I'll hold it onto something here like this and overlap it, and maybe I'll even put something over the top to hold it steady. But then I take this tube with the sandpaper and go like this. And you can get it just an absolute perfect, you know, really good tight joint doing it like that. You don't always have to do that, but
real quick, I hate to interrupt you, but just want to say a big shout out to Frank Condon, who's out there in the chat. He is my sponsor. He owns Devobal Technology. I thank you for being out there in the chat and watching us tonight. I really appreciate you. I appreciate everything you've done for myself and all those others that you were helped with the giveaway. So good to have you out there, Frank.
He's my new bestest friend.
Yeah, Frank. Thank you, Frank. I'm really liking my website you're making up for me. Thank you.
All right, let's get back to Charlie. Go ahead.
Oh, sure, no problem. So like I said, so you can joint the edges like that. So then you get into, all right, so suppose you wanted to, you know, veneer over a panel. Let me talk about substrates for a second.
Jamie from JP Woodworking says, last time I tried veneer, there was loads of bubbles everywhere. What did I do wrong?
Oh, bubbles. I'm going to try and move this a little bit here again. Okay. So, is that Jamie you said?
Jamie Page, yes. And while
Jamie
while we're asking, Buffalo Works, I believe his name is Ron, says, is there an A and a B side to veneer?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. There actually is. And it's sort of a characteristic of the veneer when they slice it. Like I was saying, how they slice it off the board, off the log. It rolls like this when they slice it off the log. And occasionally you can actually feel one side will feel rough and the other side will feel smooth. I don't fully know if it's the inside, you know, which side or another. But anyway, when you get your veneer, you can feel it. Now, this particular stuff here, they both feel the same, and I wouldn't worry about it. But occasionally you will notice one side is smoother than the other, and that would be the side you want to use. I'm going to adjust the camera quick again. Excuse me, sorry about that. A little nicer if I can be in the picture too. So, on the other hand, though, that's really, usually that's a moot point. And the reason for that is, unless you're doing what they call a slip match, where you have the same side up all along, you know, it's the same side, and like each piece looks identical to the next, then you'd have the same side up. But normally when you're doing veneers, you're doing a book match of some kind or another, at least I am. And so you'll have one side up, and the next side down, next side up, the next side down. So you're using both sides anyway. So anyway, so I was going to talk about substrates.
First, about Jamie's question about the bubbles.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you got bubbles, usually if you got bubbles in there, there's probably, you might have had too much glue. That'll do it. If you get too much glue and you go to press it, there's no place for that glue to go.
Okay.
And so you can get, it'll can ball up in there, and you can get a bubble in it. It could be that maybe if your veneer wasn't flat, you know, nice and flat when you started. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat when you press it, but you want it to be fairly much so. And what else could cause that? Maybe if you didn't have a good even pressure on it. Maybe you did, if you're using a vacuum bag, maybe you didn't have enough vacuum. But I would say the first thing most likely is too much glue. I don't know, Jamie, that makes sense or not, but
that's what he said. He originally in his questions, he said, "I think I used too much glue," and that was what I was thinking. When I did it, I noticed that if you use too much glue, it seemed to. I didn't get bubbles, but it was kind of a little, in a couple of places, a little wavy. So I was like, "Oh, I got too much glue underneath that." So
that could be. That could be. That's most likely when that happens. So anyway, so I was going to talk about substrates.
Yep.
People. Okay, I'll back up. My favorite thing to use is MDF, and I'll just put it right out there. Bad word, a cuss word in the woodworking community, but really MDF gets a bad rap. MDF is really, it's extremely stable, it's extremely flat, and it's an excellent substrate. Now we know what the bad things is. It doesn't hold screws, and it's not very waterproof. It'll sag sometimes, but as far as a substrate for holding veneer, it really is one of the best you could use. Plywood is stronger and typically more water resistant, but plywood is not as stable. Even good plywood is not as perfectly flat and can have some movement in it, whereas this MDF is pretty damn stable, pretty good stuff. The other thing you can do, and this is a cool thing you can do, is you could veneer over solid wood, and that's, you know, that's very valid. I saw a post recently on Facebook or someplace, somebody was saying they thought that was the dumbest thing they ever heard. Put veneer over solid wood. But really, suppose you're doing a nice drawer, a dresser case piece, and you wanted fancy drawer fronts. You could use, say, walnut for the drawer front, and then put nice burl veneer just over the face of it. And so when you open the drawer, it looks like solid walnut because you see that little tiny strip of walnut across the face. You wouldn't notice that. And so it's a solid wood drawer front, but it's got this beautiful burl veneer across the front. So it looks like, you know, to someone who doesn't know, that the whole thing is solid burl veneer, burl wood, which of course it can't be.
Well, they don't know, won't hurt them. Thomas Tiefenbacher, hopefully I said that right, says.
Oh, Doc Savage.
Oh, Doc Savage 45. Yes, can't.
Yep.
I don't know if he's being sincere or facetious. He says, "Can't you get it out with an iron?" Jim Brashear says, "MDF, my heart is fluttering." Jamie Page says, does Charlie also like IKEA? LOL.
I also like what?
IKEA. It's a furniture thing.
No, I'm not a fan of IKEA. No. I mean, no. Some of your most high-end, most expensive furniture, your studio furniture, a lot of it is veneered and it's MDF. We'll call it a dirty little secret, but it's truth.
Yeah, I think he was trying to rib you a little bit. But
well, I think he might have been, but that's okay.
Yeah, because he's always real serious. I know it's rare.
Let me see. So that's what I would use for a substrate. Let me see. What else did I want to tell you guys? Glue. Okay, types of glue. There's, oh my gosh, there's 100 different kinds of glue that you can use. Usually I'll just use regular white glue or type 1 or type 3. Type 1 and type 3 have got a fairly long open time. Type 2 I would never use because it tacks up real fast, and you can't get glue over a whole big wide surface and without that stuff setting up on you. So it's too hard.
You're talking about type bond 1 or type bond 2 or type bond 3, right?
Yes, right, yes. Right.
Okay.
Type 1 works pretty well. Type 3 works pretty well. They got different colors. Type 3, I think, is a little longer open time. Type 1 is, it's not quite clear, but it's almost clear when it's done. So that's what I would normally use. They do have a special veneer PVA glue, you know, same stuff as Type Bond, except it's not, the difference between that and the Type Bond, the veneer glue, specific veneer glue, is that the veneer glue, they put fillers in it. And, you know, this veneer, the normal thickness for veneer is a 42nd of an inch thick. And sometimes it's thicker, sometimes it's thinner. But if you've got an open grain, open pore wood like mahogany or something like that, or oak even, when you put it in a vacuum bag to press it, the vacuum can suck the glue right up through the veneer, and you pull it out of the bag and there's glue on the outside.
Well, Jim Brashears was asking, doesn't Type 3 leave a brown residue?
It could, but if you're using brown veneer, not a problem maybe.
Starling is pointing out that Type 1 is not, I lost it, not waterproof, and what, dang it, I lost it.
Yeah, Type
1 is not waterproof. Number 2 and 3 are.
Yes.
Right. But
like he said, Type Bond 2 will sets really quick.
And Doc Savage says he was not joking about the iron, the electric iron.
Actually, that's something. Now, Tom, you're moving me into the advanced part of the class with that iron here. Slow down there, Tom.
Yeah, we're doing for beginners right now.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get there today. Maybe next time if I'm so fortunate to be invited back. So let me see. What was glues? Okay, so Type Bond 1 or Type Bond 3. You're right. The waterproofness. I don't worry too much about getting my furniture soaked after it's built and the veneer coming off on account of that. You could use Type Bond 3 if you are concerned about that. It's a different color. Do the best you can with the color of glue.
I was going to say, I mean, who worries about water on the furniture? Now, that being said, I understand about putting, like, if you set a glass on top or something, but that doesn't work with the glue. That's going to be more or less the finish.
Yeah, you'd have to have a pretty, I mean, if you're doing a tabletop and it was a soaking wet glass on there, I guess there's a chance you could, you know, get through the finish and through the veneer. Somebody spilled I guess it's possible, but I don't know. I guess I don't worry about it as much.
Yeah.
And if you are worried about it, there's a lot of waterproof glues that are really good too. Type 3, for example. The regular PVA veneer glue that they sell, I don't think that's waterproof either. I don't believe so.
Jeff Robinson would like to know if Hyde glue is an option. HYDE.
Hyde glue is absolutely an option, no question about it. I've got I've got a piece. Hang on a second here. Oh, forget it. I don't know where I put it, but I have used hide glue for some experiments, and there's advantages to that. Normally, I wouldn't use it, regardless of the advantages. But yeah, hide glue, for sure. That's what they used for hundreds of years, is hide glue. So yeah, that works.
Jamie,
a lot more work.
Sorry, Jamie's also asking, what about epoxy?
Yeah. Epoxy? I have heard of people using epoxy. I've never tried it myself. A big advantage to epoxy is you can get any kind of an open time you want. You can get a 12-hour open time if you want with epoxy. So that could be you could use that. I've never tried it. I don't know. But I suppose you could use that.
Okay, Doc Savage 45 says hammer veneering, and Sterling Davis says regular white Elmer's glue worked for me.
Well, hammer veneering, that's with hide glue again. So yeah, you'd use a hammer veneering with hide glue.
I'm gonna pretend I have a clue what that means, but go for it.
Well, literally, what it is when they say hammer veneering, I don't have one, but there's a special hammer that they use for like a scraper. So you got the hammer. I don't know. So you got a hammer like this, but it's I'm gonna get myself oriented to the camera. It goes across like this, so it's got a flat across it like that, and then you press that down on the. So you put that hammer on the veneer, and you're like dragging it across like that. So it's basically a kind of a heavy scraper. You put it across the front, and you're dragging it across, like dragging that hide glue across like that.
So is it mainly specifically for the weight of the hammer?
It's for the weight, yeah. It's just for being able to handle it. Essentially, what you're doing is you're putting a flat blade across the top of the veneer, and it's got glue, and it's a kind of a mess. and it's hot, and you got to move fast, and you're pulling that hammer across the veneer to press it down in place.
10-4. Shane Cole wanted to know if contact cement would work.
I don't recommend contact cement. I've never tried it. I don't recommend it. The guy who I learned most of my veneering from is a guy named Tom Shrunk, and he's local up here in Minneapolis. He's done, I even helped him with one of his pianos. He's done a couple of art case pianos for Steinway and lots of really high-end stuff, and just an amazing guy, and veneered all over the world. And he just says, flat out says, don't use contact cement. So I don't.
Okay, because Brian Gidney was asking the same thing, and Ken Moon facetiously said, "Can you use nails?"
Yeah.
No,
I would definitely not recommend, because contact cement was basically designed for like your Formicas, which are real stiff. With veneer, if it's so flexible, so flimsy, it's not going to be the same. With Formica, you can cut over a whole sheet of a countertop with Formica and run your rods through there and set it on top, and then go through and pull the rods out one at a time and push the Formica down onto it. That's not going to work that way with veneer. Veneer is going to actually have gives in between those rods because it's so flimsy, and once it makes contact, it's over with.
Now, I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but don't they also make veneer with adhesive on one side?
Yes.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Okay, Brian Gidney is from Working is saying Rockler.com, how to apply veneer contact cement. So Rockler actually promotes it to a degree, I guess.
For each your own.
Can't speak for Rockler. No, I have seen people recommend contact cement, but like I said, the guy I learned from said stay away from it, and that's good enough for me.
And
sorry,
I'm just going to say the times that I tried it, and the people that I talked to said stay the heck away from the contact as far as that goes. What you're talking about, the ones that have the adhesive backing, those are come in like rolls, and what those are usually done is, like, if you're going to cover that area, you just roll it out over the top of it and keep it smooth, and then you come back and trim the edges. So basically, like the rolled veneer works almost like a Flamica in a way. It's
edge banding or something.
It's more like that rather than with the actual veneering like Charlie's talking about.
Yeah, and our Stark Raven Lunatic says, I've tried to use contact cement, and it can work if you really want bubbles and splits in the surface.
Exactly.
Well, there you go.
It's not impossible, but to each his own. Try it if you want to.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to mention too, the other glue that is really, really popular for veneer is urea glue. The two-part urea glue, and they've got different versions of that. Some of them are the old-time, urea formaldehyde. So there's some toxicity issues, but that urea glue is pretty nice to work with for veneering, for laminations, and they've got newer ones that are less toxic. Personally, I haven't used them very much. I did use it once with a friend of mine for a lamination we were doing, but Unibond. Check out Unibond, because that's truly a lot of the pros like to use Unibond.
Real quick question. Buffalo Works wants to know, can you use the same finishes on veneer as you would on other solid woods?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No question about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Buffalo. I missed that. I've multitasking.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it is a wood. It's just they sliced it real thin to make it. Yeah, so that you're putting it onto, like, let's take MDF. You're taking a piece of MDF, you're covering it with a wood that's just really, really thin to make it have the appearance that it's a solid piece of wood.
Right.
So you could treat it just like you would a solid piece of wood. You could use varnish, shellac. You could use. There's a number of things.
Right. And there's stuff you can do with veneer that you cannot possibly do. First of all, you can't even buy some of the wood that you can get in veneer. You can't buy some of those exotic woods in solid. And then, like here, I got a couple of. These were just a couple of practice boards I did a long time ago. Oops, where to pull the camera?
And McCrory is saying that veneer is like intarsia with thin wood.
Yeah. So, here's something, with this, all these different pieces here and the matching on this, you might have some wood movement problems if this was solid wood. The same thing with something like this, I got, different kind of match going around the edges here. And then I got, of course, that book matched in the middle on that diamond. So you can get, if that were solid wood, you might have, wood movement issues. Here's some cutoffs I got from a radial veneer, a radial piece I did one time with this walnut burl. So you can take, you can match it up there. And then, match it there.
Oh, wow.
And you match it something like that.
Wow, that's cool.
I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but I got a couple questions I don't want to miss. Brian Gidney is asking, does he vacuum press veneer and start graving lunar?
Absolutely. And I should get to that before we run out of time. But I want to talk I'll get to that right now as soon as I finish this. Thanks, Brian.
Okay. I'll ask the next question on the next break.
But with this, like this radial match here, if you had, all these pie-shaped pieces of wood and they were solid wood and they started moving, I mean, most likely if you had a lot of moisture variations, that thing's going to tear itself apart. And so there's, something that you can do with solid wood. I don't want to say, veneer is the only way to go, because I don't believe that either.
No, but that's a very good point. You're right. With veneer, you put it on the substrate, and it's so thin you don't have to worry about its movement and moisture content. I never even thought about that in a way. Somebody said something about, is veneer kind of like intarsia? No. Intarsia is totally different. Intarsia is solid pieces of wood,
right,
cut out and making a pattern. So, and using different species of wood in that pattern to create multiple color variations in the pattern. With a veneering, it's just you're actually taking the veneers and placing it on a substrate and cutting it in different shapes. Yes, it's different pieces, but it's not a solid pieces of wood, because in intarsia you actually bevel the edges of the intarsia pieces to also not only give them the appearance of different colors, but also give them appearance of a molding, or how do I want to put that, a sculpture, so to speak, in the intarsia pattern. And you're not doing on that veneer. Veneer is just laying solid flat.
Right. It might be thinking about marquetry.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
They're referring to marquetry, and marquetry and intarsia are two different species.
Jeff Robinson's wanting to know, do you have any examples of inlay with veneer?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, somebody's out there. It is marquetry. That's what they're talking about doing with veneer. And you're using a scroll saw and doing it, that's when they consider it marquetry.
Well, here's one example of where'd it go? Oops, camera. So here's an example of something I did a long time ago too. Just a practice piece. Those, it's in this is veneer, and I did this with what you call a window method. There's like, I think, Russ, you're just talking about using a scroll saw for doing marquetry.
Yep.
And yeah, I got a scroll saw. I even got one, Russ. I even got a scroll saw.
Yay! Yay! So
but I did this particular one with a knife. And what you'll do if you're doing this type of stuff is you'll have your veneer. I'll just do this real quick here. Just say you want to inlay a heart in there. Then I take my knife and I just, this is going to be very, very sloppy, just so in the matter for time here, just to give you guys the idea, or people I should say, Shelly, not all guys.
Guys and girls.
Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, we got several Katie Dotsons out there, Donna Press. We have several women watching.
So probably should have made this smaller for the demo, but anyway, but this is what they would call.
Well, while you were working,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, while you're working on that, then, when you do veneering, what is your go-to glue that you would like to do?
Personally, I usually use white glue, regular type 1, but it would depend a little bit on the project. Like I said, if I was using a very porous wood and it were an important project, I would probably not use the tight bond. I would probably use either the regular veneer glue, like the stuff that's got the heavy fillers in it, so it's less likely to get sucked up through it. Or I would use maybe the, maybe I'd use that urea resin glue, and you can get that stuff. You can color it. You can, it's kind of a brown to begin with, but you can color it darker, and I think you can get it lighter too. And so you can kind of color it to sort of match the project that you're working on.
Yeah, everybody's going, you're wasting that piece of wood.
Oh, this is, yeah, I got so much veneer. I'm kind of a, I don't know. I'm probably none of you people out there have the same issue, but I got this problem. I collect wood.
I think we all do.
Jim Bashir's going back, asked real quick about cutting it on a CNC. Cut it. But the problem of it is so thin that you might get some fraying or some splintering or even some blowout on it when you're cutting it with a CNC. I'm not saying it won't work, but I would be very cautious about. Now, if you did like Charlie's doing right now, if I veneered a piece of MDF and then come back and used a V-bit to, let's say, carve out into the MDF through the veneer, now that would work. But just to have the CNC try to cut through the veneer, I don't think that would be very good.
Actually, Russ, some guys do that though.
With a CNC?
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised it don't just splinter it and tear it apart.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but I know some guys do.
I'll have to check into that because I can just see it just like scattering from the sheer.
You'd get something like a spiral downcut bit.
Oh, okay.
Like it's something fine, like a 1/32 or even a 64th bit, probably.
Yeah, I know some guys are doing it. They'll do both of them, you know, the cutout, and then they have the other one, so they can get a perfect fit and snap it right in there using a CNC laser.
Well, yeah, you can use the I'm aware that you can use the CNC as an inlay because it has that ability. But I would just never fear that a piece of veneer would make it through the.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but
I'll have to look into that. That's
anyway,
start driving. Start driving.
Inlays. This is one way you can do marquetry. Is they call it the window method. You cut your thing out of your pattern out of the piece, and then you put your other piece in here. And the nice thing about doing this is, with this method, is that you can align. If you want a particular pattern, you want the grain to line up a certain way, you can move it around until you get it where you want it.
That's awesome.
Now, veneers come in different thicknesses, don't they?
Yes, they do. Like I said, the standard, I'm going to use this maple here for this. That'd be easier to see. So the standard is 42nd of an inch thick. That's a standard that you'll get veneers in. But sometimes they're thinner, sometimes they're a little thicker, sometimes they just don't get cut perfectly. And then you can even buy special thickness veneers. Like say if you're doing scroll saw marquetry. It's this thin stuff is kind of hard to work with on a scroll saw, but you can go to Certainly Wood and they got some of it available in 1/16 of an inch.
Oh, wow.
And so you can get 1/16 of an inch veneer or 1/8 inch even sometimes. And it's, it's not what you think of as veneer, but might be perfect for some project.
Should have thought nothing is hard on a scroll saw, sir.
Drew Robinson said you could use a drag knife on a CNC. Yes, that's a good point. Drag knife would go beautifully cutting through veneer. But somebody else said, looking back, stark raving lunatic. Okay. He said it comes down to feeds and speeds. Yeah, I guess so. If you slowed the feed down and with the right bit, it might. I'm surprised. I would have never figured about cutting veneer on a CNC.
Yeah, I've actually don't know much about CNCs. I mean, I know enough to have a discussion about it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know enough to prefer scroll saws.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing because I would have never thought of that. But obviously, there's enough people out there saying that they've seen it or talked about it. So,
well, I know I've heard of people doing it.
Now, the drag knife I can see because the drag knife is just like what you're using right now, Charlie. It's basically a razor knife on the end of the CNC, and it follows the pattern and just cuts right through it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, that I could see where that working very well.
Joseph Poindexter just burned me. He said, coming from a guy who can't use a straight blade. All right.
So this is pretty fast and down and dirty here. Just to give you guys the idea, though, what I mean by this window method marquetry. And this is not normally what I would do for marquetry, but it works. So you're using the window in the first piece as a guide for your knife. And like I said, that's how I did this piece over here, is with this window. I've already got my marks on here. I don't need the guide anymore. I've already scribed it.
Okay, I got a couple. One's a comment, one's a question.
Yeah.
Jamie Page says you could clamp 2 pieces between 2 thin bits of plywood and cut it out on a scroll saw, then just sand 1 bit down till it fits, and that's with a question mark. And Stark Raven Lunatic says, hey Charlie, would you be able to use the knife to cut through 2 layers at the same time to make sure they fit together? And Sterling Davis says, is that a number 2 X-Acto knife?
No, this happens to be a medical scalpel. I do have an X-Acto knife, and that works good. Scalpels are just a little bit sharper, a little bit easier to work with. So basically, you know, here's an example of the window method, where if I cut this perfectly, then they would fit perfectly together. And even as fast and quick as I did it, that's, you know, you get the idea. And if this were a real project, I would have taken a little bit more time and been a little bit more careful. But
good,
just to show you.
Dagnabbit, Charlie.
So anyway,
I was going to say that to me, as fast as you did that, that fits fantastic. So I can imagine if you took your time to do it, how good it would look.
If you take your time and do it, you can, you know, well, like I said, I got, you know, this one here, and that's, you know,
that's beautiful. Yeah, I like that. That's beautiful.
So
Michael Lawing said that's a lot more straightforward than I expected.
Well, I'm glad, Mike.
No, you had said something earlier about you would love to do it again if I have you back. Let's plan on this. Tonight has been a very basic going over like veneering and period. Let's go back and invite you back maybe in a week or so and give you plenty of time and go into and actually do some veneering, have it set up. So you
know what I would like to do? Yeah, because I didn't show you anything about how to tape it.
Right.
And there's a little bit to that and fit it together. What I'd like to do, well, let me ask people if there's anything in particular, but I'll tell you what I would like to suggest is show a little bit of some book matching, how to do book matching, and maybe do some stringing. You know, how you can do stringing. There's nice tricks on how you can do stringing with this. Make like doing like a frame around a border.
I can do something. You set up what you want to do, and let's you a week or two and get it set up so you got your thing on. We'll accept whatever you want to do. So and well, I'm just saying, you set up what you would want to do, and you think you want to show us, and we'll come back in a couple of weeks and do it again.
Sterling Davis is saying, will the walnut heart fit the maple? And Jamie is saying, I'm going to do it G-rated. Dang you, Charlie. I'm off to Amazon to buy veneer now.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go on Amazon. I'd go to either eBay or Certainly Wood or regular veneer supplier. I actually got a lot of it on eBay.
Sterling is recommending clean spore.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they sold veneer.
I didn't either.
Okay.
I thought they were strictly sanding.
I know you're cutting to the end here. If you got another 5-10 minutes or so, I'll show you this.
We've got another 5-10 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, I'll show you this vacuum bag and a little bit of what that looks like.
Go for it.
Get the camera way up and get you a better view.
While you're doing that, Doc Savage says, I'd like the stringing, and Stark Raven Lunatic says, I would like to see a little about the vacuum system you use for the glue up as well, please.
All right, we'll do that vacuum right now.
You keep it on the ceiling? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, keep it on the ceiling. I can get this back down here. All right. So I'm lucky. I've got a really nice vacuum bag here.
Holy crap.
So this is actually a 4x8 bag.
Holy. I don't think I've seen one that big.
Holy monkey.
Here. And so what you'll do is you take your All right, you got your substrate, and I use a roller to spread the glue. I know people have read all kinds of ideas on spreading glue. This roller, after you use it a couple of times, it's as hard as a rock. And I just pour the glue on, and I go like this, and I get it looking pretty smooth, and I kind of get a feel for what it's supposed to look like, and lay it out there, and I put a little tape around the edges to hold it in place. And you veneer both sides too. And something like this MDF panel, you always want to veneer both sides, because if you veneer just one side, it'll buckle the panel. You got to even it out. So something, secondary wood on the back side. So you get your glue on both sides, quick tape your veneer panel on there. You open the bag up, you slip it in, but wait, there's more.
You only put glue on the substrate?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. You put glue on the substrate. You don't put glue on the veneer. Because you put glue on the veneer, the moisture in the glue, the veneer will start to move on you before you can get it in the bag. So you put the glue on the substrate, and that way it's less likely for that veneer to start moving on you.
But wait, there's more if you act now.
That's right. Here's the other thing it's important to know, is that when you put this, this fitting here, and you put your vacuum pump on here, it can suck this vinyl down so tight onto the substrate, onto your veneer, that it won't allow the vacuum to suck across the whole bag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And so I use this window screen stuff. Just regular window screen. You get it, Lowe's or Menards or wherever you go.
Don't say that word again.
I don't like the L word.
I don't like the L word.
Whichever one. I actually go to Menards myself.
Oh, either that or Home Depot.
Yep. They don't have Menards everywhere though.
Lowe's.
So, but I put this screen over here, and that way it'll allow the air to get sucked out across the whole thing.
That's awesome.
And some guys will just use a bath towel, and even that, just a piece of cloth, anything in there that'll allow that vacuum to suck across the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that keeps it from pulling all the way down really hard onto the veneer.
Right. Because otherwise, it can pull tight here, and it won't be tight over here because it'll like a seal.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's that. And then of course.
Well, how much does that vacuum bag cost you?
That's an expensive bag. I got it. At. This is a pretty expensive bag. Where I get most of my stuff is at garage sales, and I got that in the estate sale. But this is a couple $100 bag for sure. On the other hand, my first bag,
Mom will never give you that much money.
No, my first bag, I only paid $40 for it. But
yes, Jim shares you can fit a body in it.
You go on Joe Woodworker, and you can go to the fabric store and buy vinyl. And Joe Woodworker sells a fitting. You can cut into a regular piece of vinyl, and you can make your own bag for, say $30, $40.
Wow.
But this is the pump I use. This is a vacuum pump. And this is just an old refrigeration pump I got off of eBay. Nowadays, I've had this for quite some time. And at the time when I got it, this was the only place I could find a good vacuum pump for any kind of price. But now they sell really cheap ones on Amazon for like $50. No kidding. $50 for a brand new vacuum pump.
You can also get them at Harbor Freight for really pretty cheap too.
Yeah. So nowadays you can get them pretty good deals on them.
And when you say Harbor Freight, I know everybody cringes, but I have a vacuum pump that I got from Harbor Freight, and it has lasted me for like 2 or 3 years, and I've had no problems out of it. So now, in the same aspect, I don't use it every single day, and I'm not in the air conditioning business, but
right.
I've used it I've done some, I have a vacuum chamber, and I've done some wood stabilization and stuff like that, and it's always worked perfect. Never had a problem with it.
Yeah. So, but a vacuum bag is, you got anything of any size, you almost need a vacuum bag.
Right.
You can, if you got something small though, where's the camera? Where's my hands? Okay.
They're right there.
You know, if you're just doing a small piece like a jewelry box, a top for a jewelry box or something small, you could do that with clamps and a couple of cauls, you know, and just squeeze it on there and that'd be perfectly fine. But if you're doing, you know, something that's 2 feet long and 18 inches wide, like a tabletop or something, then you almost need a vacuum bag in order to get the pressure across there.
One
Right.
person asked how you seal the bag. Jamie wants to know, can you use a vacuum bag that they use for clothes?
Vacuum bag for clothes.
You know, like the kind that you see on the commercials?
You know, I think you can. I think you could. I don't know if you know, if you get enough vacuum with a vacuum cleaner, but you can use that. In fact, I've heard of guys using just regular plastic and taping it and putting a fitting in the middle and just sucking it out that way and not even have a whole bag.
Huh.
I heard of a guy veneering the side of a boat. He just took plastic and he taped it on the side of the boat and he got his vacuum hose in underneath the plastic and he did it.
Yeah, Michael Lawing was saying there wasn't enough pressure, and he said space bags, I think is a word you were looking for.
Yeah, space.
Yeah.
Doc Savage 45 said the clamping mechanical press is often used in old style marquetry.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Tom's right. So let me see. As far as how to seal it up, you could just take a board. You guys can't see what I'm doing here. All right. You could take just a couple of boards, put them across here and clamp across them.
Yes.
I hadn't had good luck with that. What I do, of course, like I said, this is a regular commercial bag, but it's got this got this plastic tube here with a snap that goes over it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sterling
Like this.
Sterling Davis says his food saver machine would work.
Yeah, on small projects.
If you got enough vacuum on, I don't know. You have to
That's
try
the
it.
problem with getting the. You can only pull so much of a vacuum. It doesn't matter how big your machine is; it'll only pull
Correct.
so much of a vacuum. But the point is, you've got to be able to pull that large amount, which I don't think a vacuum cleaner, as Charlie pointed out, for like the space bags and some of the other machines, like a food machine or food saver, would pull the amount that you want. Once again, I was wrong about the CNC, so I might be wrong about this, but I do know that a vacuum pump pulls a heck of a lot more vacuum than a vacuum cleaner could ever.
You want to get normally at least 22 inches. You know, like you said, Russ, you can't get more than 29 inches anyway, usually.
Right.
But if you get 20 to 25 inches, you're usually good. Less than that, I don't know. It's iffy. You might be okay. You might not.
Yeah, my Harbor Freight will pull 20, somewhere around 22, 23 without too much of a problem and be able to do that. So
yeah. So the way I seal this particular bag, I got this piece of plastic tubing, and I lay it on there, and I just roll the plastic across the tubing, and then there's this corresponding
that's pretty
piece of
cool.
plastic. It just
That
snaps
came
right
with
over.
the bag, you said, right?
What'd you say?
You said that came with the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just put it on here and squeeze it down.
Want me to turn the camera off? I can get you off the camera.
Y'all getting ready to get out here, Shelly?
So anyway,
We had the
I'm
mic
sorry,
on.
we
I'm
didn't
sorry.
know. We don't know. Sorry, we didn't know the mic was on.
That's all right.
No, don't worry about me. I'm having a blast. It's just
good.
I'm
Okay.
having a
I'm
blast.
glad to hear that.
Somehow a rumor got started in the outside.
That's me weird. So sorry.
Somehow a rumor got started in the outside chat that Mom has pizza rolls. I don't know how it got started.
Pizza roll.
Oh, you got pizza rolls?
And do you have enough for everybody?
Yeah. Do you have enough for everybody? That's the thing.
We don't buy that commercial stuff. We make it ourselves.
Russ, for what it's worth, Russ, you're still presenting.
Yeah, I'm
All
fixing to change off of that. Are you about through with what you need to do, John?
Yeah. I think this is probably a good stopping point on this.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll talk to you some more, Russ, after this, and we'll figure out another time, and I'll come up with another, bunch of stuff to cover some time, and hope try to make it interesting if I can.
Jeff Robinson wanted to know how thick the bag was. Sorry for interrupting, Russ.
This is actually pretty thin. My homemade bag was real heavy vinyl that I got at Joann Fabric. And I just took airplane cement and I glued the 3 sides, and I got the fitting at Joe Woodworker, and I used that for quite some time. And then I came across, like I said, this bag. This is real thin, flexible vinyl, and is much nicer to use than the Joann Fabric stuff that was stiff and it was hard to get a seal. But you can, that homemade bags, they work just fine. It's just a little not as easy to use.
I love the guy, Stark Raving Lunatic's name over there, and every time I see that, I just laugh. He said it's too early in the morning where he's at for pizza.
Never too early for pizza.
Yeah,
You ain't lying. God, I'd give my left arm for a pizza right now.
Yep. So
I literally just ordered a pizza.
well,
thank you, and good job.
I sit down and figure out what you want to do, and show us and everything, and get it all in your mind, and set up everything and ready. And let's say in a couple of weeks we'll come back and do it again, because I've enjoyed this and I want to learn. I want to learn more. I did some veneering, a little bit of veneering on my own, but yeah, some of the things you told me tonight, I was like, wow, I did not know that. So I'd like to learn more myself.
Cool.
I know I had. I learned a lot.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome.
It was fun for me too.
I'm gonna order some veneer of different thicknesses and see what I can do on my CNC with it now. You got me curious.
Yeah, I would love to see that, because you've got a little bit more experience with the CNC than I do, and I'd like to see that. I don't have any doubt that you could put it on MDF and then cut through it to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And once it's dried, I just didn't think you could do it when it was so thin. But hey,
I'm sure it's just.
I don't know how they do it. I know some guys do. I know most of them that are doing it computer are using a laser though.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, I'd just
Charlie.
like to thank you for opening up another rabbit hole for me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Sterling Davis is offering to buy pizza for everybody.
Sterling's gonna buy.
Have you done any carving?
And just to point out, he snuck in here because we had the camera or the panel hidden. He snuck in here apparently while we were on. That is Mr. Russ Meadows. How you doing, Russ?
I'm doing good. And by the way, I missed half.
There you are,
I still learned a lot.
Yeah. Good.
I didn't learn a dang thing because I'm in the outside chat the whole time.
Tell Teresa, Russ, I'm mad at her for keeping you so long at Walmart.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell her that.
Yeah, you tell her. Tell her, man.
Off camera. I don't want you to see the black eyes I get.
Well, Russell's already in the doghouse tonight.
Yeah, I'm already in the doghouse. I'll go ahead and tell that one. That one's pretty cool.
But the doghouse is in Venezuela, luckily for him.
Yeah, we had a lady come in to Rockler today, and we were making the bow ties, and she was from Venezuela, and she was a very nice-looking lady. Let's put it that way. And but anyway, so
that's not the way you put it earlier, Russ.
Yeah, I know. I might not say, hey. If you want to be back on, Charlie, you'll be quiet.
I hope he's talking to the other Charlie. Yeah. One of the other Charlies.
So all of y'all will be quiet, matter of fact. But anyway, she was a very nice looking woman, but she was asking about what we were doing, and I was explaining to her about the bow ties. So she said, can anybody make one? I'm like, yeah. So I helped her make one and everything. So we were talking about it. It was kind of funny because in some of my descriptions, and we were talking about, I said a lot of the guys were oogling, and it was funny because my wife, I'm in her office to do the show because we have my granddaughters over. And so my wife is like through that door over here and only about 15, 20 feet from me. And she was hearing the conversation. So when I got up to go take a break before the show started and we were all in the, I walked out, and as I walked in the living room, she turned around and she goes, where was this lady from? Puerto Rican. So she heard the whole conversation in there. So all the guys on the panel were laughing that, oh yeah. So I got caught. So
Russ,
it was-
Sterling. I'm sorry. Sterling is saying that Mr. How the hell you say your name?
Charles needs to go- yeah,
Kocourek needs to do a workshop confession.
yeah. Charles or Charlie. Normally the people, and I'll lock the camera back. Let me lock it back on you, off of me and onto you. Normally we do what is called woodshop confessions, and what that is, Charlie, is our guest, which you are the guest tonight, will tell us something that you've done in your wood shop that was like so absolutely dumb or
Dumber than a mud brick.
Yeah, after you did it, you were like, "Why the heck did I do that?" So we're going to put you on the spot, and I know I have more than one. So, but what's a good woodshop confession for you tonight?
Oh my God, what are the dumb things I've done over the years? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I've done a lot.
My first marriage.
Well, there was that. Yeah.
I was speaking for myself, but if it works.
Yeah, well, that was really a bad one. That one cost me.
Well, there's a song out there called "Cheaper to Keep Her," but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that.
All right,
I'm looking around here trying to think what are the dumb things I've done in here.
What about the last time you got hurt?
Yeah, look for scars.
Well, usually when I get hurt, it's from not wearing gloves or doing something like that. I've been lucky. I've never knocked it on my wood.
Yeah.
I've never had any serious cuts. I mean, I've nicked myself with chisels and gouges and, stupid stuff like that. But I've never, so far anyway, got myself caught up in any spinning blades. I have sanded the tips of my fingers off a few times on sanders.
All right, come on, hurry up with a woodshop confession.
Well, I guess I'm just going to have to go with that one. Sticking my thumb in the disc sander.
Sticking your thumb on the disc sander? Oh yeah, I bet you that would hurt.
Yeah, I've done that more times. It's the confession isn't that I did it once. The confession is that I've done it over and over again.
You didn't learn from the first time.
It's like Homer Simpson. No.
Exactly.
It's funny because we did the same thing at Rockler this afternoon. A couple of us talking about this same thing and a guy brought a brad nailer up and was asking questions about the brad nailer, and there was 2 or 3 of us standing there, and they were talking about. He walked away, and immediately one of the other guys said something about, "Oh yeah, I've had a few incidents with the brad nailer," and he talked about his. Yeah, and I said, "Yeah," and I said, "I have too." I said, "I never will forget. I was holding something in my hand one day, and it was 3/4 of an inch thick, and I needed to nail something together on it. And I picked up the brad nailer real quick, and not thinking that there's 1 1/4 inch brad nails in the brad nailers, and I started going pow, 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 pow.
Ouch.
Right through the piece of wood, right into my finger.
Oh,
That tickles.
Oh yeah, it tickled all right. As soon as it hit, because it hit, and I was getting ready to do another one, and I was like, so yeah, I've done that. All right, guys. Well, we're getting ready to get out of here. It's on 9:24. We've been over, and we've still got like 35 people.
Wow.
So let me interrupt you for just a second, Russ.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for inviting me on the show.
Oh, great.
Honestly, I was rather honored, and I appreciate it, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, we've had a great time. Trust me, we want you back on to talk more about veneering. I'm very interested in this.
Cool.
I think
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Next year in Atlanta, lunch is on Russ.
Yeah, lunch is on me.
Deal.
Russ Clarity. Russ Clarity.
No, Russ Meadows. We've had a ton of questions, and I think that we've had a lot of response back in the chat saying, yeah, they'd like to see another one on this too. So
good.
Very good. So thank you guys. Thank you all over there for the sorry we were going through so many things that I didn't get caught a lot of names. But I know Katie Dotson, Donna Presley, TJ's Woodworking, Inspired Woodworks, Ken McCrory still here. Who else have you seen out there, Charles? Can you think?
Quite a few, but
I saw TJ one go.
TJ just came in, but he was, because when you made the time mistake, he was late for 11 p.m.
So who else was out there?
Star Craving Lunatic, Doc Savage,
Davis?
45. Yeah, Sterling Davis.
Years has been out there.
Michael Long.
Yeah, Ken Moon from Moon Piper Creations. Hi, Ken. The guy that always says I never talk about him or I ignore him, Ken Moon. So,
Michael Lawing was out there.
Yep. David Jones. So, guys, thank you very, very much. And I'm sorry we got so interested in doing. It's Charlie's fault. We got so interested in doing what Charlie was talking about veneering that we missed calling out so many names. But we had a lot of good questions. A lot of good information.
Yeah. There were a lot of questions. Did we miss a lot of questions?
Don't think so.
Okay, good.
What Charles was doing an excellent job, and I would catch a few of them that fell in between the cracks. So I think we got like 80-90% of all the questions.
Good. And if you guys come up, you or anybody out there, watching this after the fact, whatever, you got questions, hit me up on my website, by email, charlie@jackbench.com. Get a hold of me. I'll answer. I'll help you out, whatever you need.
Cool. Yeah, Sterling Davis is out there. Great show. Thanks for the input, Charlie. I appreciate that too. All right, guys. Thank you once again, Charlie. And I do want you back on in the next couple of weeks. We'll set up a show and we'll talk about that after tonight. Cool. And thank you to Shane and Shelly. Thank you. And it's good to see you again, Shelly. Love you.
Glad to be here. Bye.
Hey, and we have missed you. I mean, literally, we have missed you. So thank you. I'm glad you're back. And the guy that's sitting next to you, what's his name?
Biscuit. His name is Biscuit.
No, I'm talking about Shane.
Biscuit. Biscuit's one cute little dog.
Yeah, we miss Shane on occasion too.
I want to see more Biscuit.
Yeah. And then
he's a daddy girl.
Yeah. Thank you, Russ Meadows, and Paul, and Rob, and Charles Gant. I'll get it right in a second. I got 3 Charleses on here tonight, so I got to get it right. Charles Grant. Yeah.
That gives Charles in charge a whole new meaning.
You should have seen us in Atlanta when we were standing beside somebody. We would hear somebody say Charles, and everybody would turn around.
How do we have 4 on here, Russ? You said 4.
We have 4 Charleses?
Think about it, Shane. I see your calculator.
I am so lost.
I am too. I don't know what he's talking about.
You don't see 4 Charleses?
No.
Either.
Veneering, Charles Gant, Charlie.
S03.
Where's the 4th?
Oh, your real name is Charlie. I keep forgetting that.
Oh, okay.
Well, we don't go by that. We go by Russ.
I know,
the other Russ, the cuckoo host.
It is a good name. It rolls off the tongue very nicely.
But anyway, thank you, Charles Gant, for being on here. And I was going down the line. And then thank you, Charles. I'm going to mess up his name now because I lost. I lost my train of thought. So, how do you say your last name again?
Kocourek.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. And then my co-host and my very special friend, I love him to death, Charles Deering.
Aw. I was about to say, which Charlie are you talking about? I don't want to get all excited.
No, I'm talking about you. You know I love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Charles is a very special, very close friend of mine. I wouldn't have kissed him if I didn't love him.
Oh, diddly.
Yeah. So, all right, let's call it a night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all you out there. And I only have one thing left to do.
Not enough time for the song.
Just give me sawdust. Lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair.
Oh, yeah.
And God bless.
Good night, everybody.
See you next week behind the logo.
Good night. Thanks a lot.